All right, what's going on, Kane fans? Hope you're all having a great weekend so far. As you know, even though the season's over, the football news never stops. Now we got transfer portal rumors, we got coaching change rumors, signing days coming up in February, the official signing day. Yeah, it's football season year round pretty much nowadays. So got my boy Caned up here. Follow him on the Miami Flow channel on YouTube. That's FLO Flow Miami Flow Football on YouTube. Go follow him. Great content. And yeah, we want to just hop on and just chop it up and talk a little Canes football. So what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Excited to talk some football. I've been watching all these bowl games. I'm itching.
Yeah, man. Hey, by the way, have you noticed that pretty much every semifinal game is a blowout? Pretty much, right?
It's I don't know. I think a lot of eyes have been opened in the last 5 days.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, a couple things like we were talking before we started on this video, just like one of the topics that I brought up to you was the budgets of some of these programs, these
Right.
powerhouse programs that have all these millions of dollars getting dumped into recruiting and their coaching staffs, and they're playing programs that have maybe 30%, 40% of that kind of budget, and they're losing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're losing convincingly. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it's it's eye-opening. I mean, just today, Iowa State, what they did to Oregon.
Yeah, man. I don't know if with that one though. I don't know if maybe the whole all the rumors about Cristobal possibly leaving maybe had a little bit to do with that. I mean, you never know.
But don't
But
forget, they gave him an extension like 3 weeks ago.
they did. I'm just saying like that the rumors before plus a weird 6 game season, like they didn't have their usual training regimen and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm just saying things leading up to the game could have thrown them off. Who knows? But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think this proved to me something I already knew. Good coaching will trump big budget always.
That's a good point. That's a that I mean, again, I know we're getting into it right now. It's eye opening. I mean, we can even talk about the Cincinnati against Georgia. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. I mean, Cincinnati recruits 2 and 3 star guys. You know, and if you really watch that game was a coin flip. I mean, it could have went either way. And you and I both know Georgia's budget. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's crazy to me the more we try to look for excuses for our program, but the answer is right in front of our face, and it's coaching, man. It really is.
Yeah. Whoever thinks at this point that we're getting the wrong players, you have not been paying attention. We've been getting the wrong players for 15 years, really? You think that's what it is? No, it's like good recruiting class after good recruiting class after good recruiting class. They make the same mistakes. They get drafted fifth, sixth, seventh round because they underachieve year after year. The common denominator is bad coaching because these guys get fired every 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question. So if it's so obvious for us on the outside that follow our team and follow college football, we try to stay up on all the stuff because it helps for us to know about our squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so difficult for our athletic department to see what everyone else is seeing?
I think it's a lot of reasons. Number one, I think their head is in the sand for a lot of it. Like it's a lot of factors. Number one, money. If Manny was not that expensive, he was familiar. The fans like him, the players like them, and and also the other reason is their attitude has always been it'd be great if we won national championships, but we're academic first. We're the Harvard of the South. All this bullshit. So it's a lot of reasons. I think it seems to me that this new president that took over a few years ago for Donna Shalala does care a little bit more. I mean, I believe he was the one that pulled the trigger and brought Mark Richt here. So, and then the indoor practice facility's been built. So I think he cares more. But ultimately, I mean, I don't think we're even close to the bigger budget teams, like you mentioned, the Georgias and the Oregons, as far as funneling money into the football program and winning, and then getting those returns. Because I don't think people realize how much money you get when you go to a what used to be a BCS bowl game, now a New Year's Six.
Mm-hmm.
Go to those bowl games consistently and win. That's big money for your program.
Yep.
You know, so it's different reasons. But to sum it all up, I do not think it is a priority for them. Where some of those other schools, it is. And guess what? Their academics don't really suffer that much, because in return for their team winning, they're getting money.
Right. Well, yes, I agree with you. So let's say, okay, those are facts. Maybe they don't care as much, whatever. But then why do we struggle so much on picking the right candidates in the budget that we have, when these other schools that we have actually a much bigger budget than are just hitting on these candidates, and the candidates are staying there 5-6 years before they get, the big dog job. But they got the candidate at a cheap price. That guy stayed there, built the program up, did a great job, pretty much put him on the map. And it's every year there's a few schools. It's not like, this isn't like an anomaly where it happens like once every, that's not. I can go back and give you examples, like off the top of my head, 3 or 4 this year. I can give you 3 or 4 last year, and I'm sure there's more if we dig into it. So I'm all about the big budget. I think it's great to have a little extra money to put into the program. Don't get me wrong. But what about the evaluation process to make the hiring?
I don't know, man. It's just they've missed time after time. I will be the first to admit, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I was happy back when they hired Al Golden. Here's why. The guy seemed to resurrect what looked like a dead program in Temple. His second to last year, he won 9 games. And I think his last year, he won 8 games. He had their first round pick ever in Muhammad Wilkerson. And it just looked, okay, that was a guy that was at a smaller school. He made them into a winner. Now he's going to do the same thing. I figured he was going to do that here. But, we all know the dude was a used car salesman, basically. He lied to all of us, and we know how that worked out. And then the other ones were just, I think, a way to save money. Randy Shannon and Manny Diaz, I think, were to save money. Those guys were going to get a head coaching job, or Manny was going to get a head coaching job at Temple. Randy Shannon was, going to be probably a career defensive coordinator, and they just made those hires. And a lot of other stuff went wrong. You remember the Mike Leach situation way back then?
Oh, yeah.
He was basically coming here, but then from what I hear, they didn't like him in the interview and a few other things. And
well, they turned down Dan Mullen too.
They turned down. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe you can fill me in. Because, I know Dan Mullen was interested in the Miami job back in 2015 when we got Mark Richt. And so was Mario Cristobal, from what I hear. But there was some – I've heard that there's stuff between maybe Mario and the administration that they don't really get along. They don't like each other, which sucks because I love Mario Cristobal. I think he's an awesome coach. But anyway – maybe you can fill me in on what happened with Dan Mullen. Like, why didn't he get hired?
I don't really have a lot of concrete stuff. Just that they didn't want him at the end of the day. And I heard he was never a real candidate. I heard he had more interest in the school. Actually, had interest. I love Mario Cristobal as well. I think he's a solid coach. I guarantee you, give that guy a little more time out there in Oregon or a full year, they're going to be a problem. He's a good coach. And I'm not, I can't say I'm really pissed off about the Manny situation just yet. Yeah, he was the easy, quick hire for sure. Was he deserving of it? I don't know. He was getting a head coaching job somewhere else at Temple, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody else thought he was a head coach material. I just feel like it was rushed, clearly, but okay, he came in, he made some mistakes, he made the right adjustments. Then he gets hit with COVID year. Boom.
Right.
For a second-year coach, right, with a brand-new offense staff, which kudos to that offensive staff he put together. Mm-hmm. I have no beef with that staff.
Yeah.
Offensive line, wide receiver coach, offensive coordinator. I got no beef with that. So now, we go through another year. Even though it's a COVID year, you get enough information to go, okay, this is the issues now.
Right.
And what are we now? 5 days since the bowl game or something like that?
Right.
And the number one problem is still there. And I'm watching programs like Texas eat $15 million, get rid of it's actually $25 million because they have to get rid of the rest of their staff.
Mm-hmm.
So they eat that, and they already had a candidate in place that's hired. He's going to coach, the OC for Alabama, Sarkisian.
Yeah.
He's going to be the coach there. They already have him in place. No problem. Auburn fires their head coach. They got a head coach already in place. Like, what are we waiting for? And I know I don't want to get this whole video on that rant because we could probably talk all night and get some alcohol beverages while we do it and and go crazy on it, right? But
yeah.
I just think it's such a common sense move. Why do we, unless, tomorrow we wake up and we were interviewing candidates. We decided to go with this guy, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
I just, and all the stuff I'm hearing, I don't know if they're going to do it, man. I just don't know if they're going to do it.
Yeah. I don't get the stubbornness, and I don't know if it comes from a place of pride that they're just like, no, we're going to win because we're Miami kind of thing, which I know that was the case 15 years ago when we wanted, guys wanted to come in and install a spread offense, and no, we want to stay pro style. I think it's that same stubbornness that goes up top. Someone told me, I have a funny story. I was at a game. It was Ja'Cory Harris's last game. This was 2011. Remember we pulled out of the bowl game. So there was that last home game against BC was kind of like our bowl game. It was Al Golden's first year. Ja'Cory's throwing interceptions left and right. And there's this dude behind me, drunk as hell. And he's just going off on Shalala and the administration. And I'm like, and I made the argument of, well, I mean, they're not the ones throwing the interceptions. I made some comments about the coaches too. And then he goes, no. The pig stinks from the head, not the ass. It starts at the top. And I agree with that. It's the same reason, team like the Dallas Cowboys are mired in mediocrity. I'm a Dolphin fan, but, I kind of want the Cowboys to be good again. I'm one of those. As long as Jerry Jones is there, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I feel the same way about Miami until they accidentally stumble onto a coach that knows what he's doing, that can implement the stuff, that could teach our kids how to tackle, that teaches the fundamentals that kept really Cincinnati should have won against Georgia.
Yeah.
That had, Iowa State dominated Oregon. It just takes good coaching. That's really it. A coach that, not even a phenomenal coach, a coach that knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to teaching kids football.
Yeah.
And is just a decent recruiter. You are in the hotbed of talent in South Florida. Like Paul Feinbaum used to say, oh, it's a dumpster fire of a program and all this crap, and nobody wants that job. Listen, any coach that knows what he's doing, 2 years, turn this around. With the talent you have here. No problem.
But that's the thing. Like, you're making a lot of sense right now, and that's my point. Like, I think all we want at this point is a team that's consistently looks prepared. I can't. What's our number one beef? Almost, at least it's hosted. I wonder who's going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming off a bye week. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Crap! In the first quarter, we're down 3 touchdowns. I want a different narrative. I want something that's like, we just got beat. They were better, or we didn't execute at the end, but you could see that we were in the right spot. That guy just made a better play, or I'm watching these games, and I'm watching teams that are prepared. Like, you keep bringing up Cincinnati, and I brought up Cincinnati as well with you, but that team looked very prepared to me. They didn't look like it was their first time with the lights on like that. They had every excuse to be a little bit shook or not as prepared or not have the experience that you would need in that type of matchup. I thought they were dictating pretty much almost the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like you said, starts at the top, starts with their coaches, right? I don't know their administration, so I can't really talk on their administration. So I can only go up to the coaching staff. Dude, those guys looked like they were in the right spot. They were making good adjustments. They understood things, you know. Of course, we can nitpick. They could have time managed better this, and I got that. But they look like they belong in that game 100%. And then we talk about Iowa State. They had 3 losses or something like that, you know, going into this game. Okay, let's say Oregon is not the normal Oregon. But from a talent standpoint, Oregon should have had a much bigger advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And they just manhandled Oregon. I mean, it was just, and I'm watching and I'm looking at the rosters. I'm looking up their rosters, like Googling. I'm like, this guy's a 2-star. This guy's a 3-star. And look at him. You know, their back, who's a 4-time All-American or consistent. He's about to be a consensus All-American, something like that.
Right.
Because there's 5 things they have to be voted on, I heard, or something, and he's already been voted on 4 of them.
Right.
Was like 68th in the country or something when in running backs when he got recruited or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude just is unreal. Why is he unreal? Yeah, sometimes some programs miss on a talent. They don't know how to evaluate it. But how about developing it? When you tell me, I'm going to ask you, maybe you can help me because maybe I'm just a little bit crazy. Name me a player that we've developed very well that is not in the trenches in the last 10 years.
First guy that pops into my head is Duke Johnson, but I feel like he was just special.
He was a beast before that. He could have went to FAU. He could have went to FAU and he would have been to the NFL.
Yeah, there's just anomalies. There's those kids that are special that
right.
I don't care who coached them. I don't care where they went.
Right.
They're playing on Sundays. Duke was one of them. So I don't know if he got developed necessarily. If anything,
right.
They made him put on too much weight and it held him back a little bit. Let's see.
Maybe Braxton Berrios, maybe.
Braxton Berrios, maybe. But I feel a lot of that was like him taking ownership of like, man, it's my last year. I got to step up. That's kind of what it felt like.
True.
Could have, yeah, you could Braxton Berrios.
But possibly.
Philip Dorsett. He's one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But you see, I've said in the last 10 years, and we're
struggling to think.
And we're talking about University of Miami. Yeah. I'm not talking about guys that are coming in 4- and 5-star guys. I'm talking about, that are 3-star guys that we got that all of a sudden, the one that pops in my head that we can easily say, but I don't want to say because it's different, is Greg Rousseau in the trenches, right? He's a monster.
Yeah.
Like that dude's going to play 10 years in the NFL, no problem, right? Mm-hmm. But from a skill standpoint, what is South Florida known for? Fast, speed, the skill positions, D-backs, corners, wide receivers, running backs. We're getting unbelievable talent in our program. And like you said, 5th, 6th round, 4th round.
If that.
How is that possible?
People think, okay, recruiting, play on the field, and, the rest kind of figures itself out. No. You got to develop them. I don't care how many stars we're recruiting. You got to develop talent. Butch Davis was not the best game day coach. I remember him making some questionable decisions a lot of times. I remember as a kid watching, and my dad wanted to throw something at the TV because he, along the way of him rebuilding, he would lose to an East Carolina, or he would lose to whatever because bad game planning. But he developed his guys really well. Guys like, I understand they're legends, but a lot of it was because of the development. Moss, Wayne, Ed Reed, they all came in, looked promising as freshmen, but
Ed Reed was a 2-star.
Yeah. They went from promising as freshmen. They show flashes in 98, 99. They're like all Big East players. 2000, they're like, oh, they can go to the draft right now. Oh, they're going to stay another year. Okay, now they're like first rounders, All-American. Yeah, player development is so important, and it's been missing since Butch Davis left. We haven't really had it since.
I think that, we're starting to get some recruiting classes in, right? I think we need another 2 that are at least in the top 15, like to stack, right? but now where I'm really concerned, if I'm really just putting like that, you know, the microscope on the program, other than who we're gonna fire, who's gonna leave, like all that's political, right? But who do we have on the staff? And I'm really just talking about that defensive side because I'm pretty happy on the offensive side. That's going to develop these killers that we got. You know, they're pretty good right now, but they're going into college. So I think I think Dave Feely has proven himself, to me at least. I think he's done a great job with getting the guys stronger, you know, prepared to play at that high level D1. I have no issues with him. Where I have issues is technique, fundamentals, mental preparation, making a different mistake, not always making the same mistake, like where they're lining up, their prep work, And I have to say this year, only in a few second halves, I was like, okay. I saw it in a couple second halves coming out. I saw some adjustments that I was like, okay. But overall, for the type of program that we have, as far as like what kind of athletes we have here, where we can recruit, the name, and people say, well, you guys are not what you used to be. I understand, but we're still a big program in college football, and we're still getting ranked almost every year at some point. We're in the top 25, so we're solid. I wouldn't put us in the upper tier, but I don't think we're a middle tier either. I think we're between middle and the upper tier, my opinion. Yeah. I'd put us at like between 15 and 25, where I think we are, and if we had development, I think we could sneak in that top 10.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it's amazing what we've done to this point on talent alone. It really is. But yeah, development's what's been missing for a long, long time.
What did you think about that T2 announcement today?
I mean, I wasn't shocked. I was, hearing things leading into it. The crystal balls on 24/7 all said Maryland, so wasn't shocked. But I know Manny's, Manny always wins the offseason, so I know he's got a plan to get a linebacker or two. We'll see. And I do agree. The recruiting classes have been better because if you look since the Coker days, we'll get a great recruiting class and then we'll get like a top 8, top 7 recruiting class. Then 25th. It's like, what the hell just happened? Why the drop? It's like up and down. Now we've gotten like 10 to 12 ranked classes in a row. So that's good. That consistency is good. And, from what I'm hearing in the transfer portal of who we might get and who we've gotten the last couple, we get the best guys available in the transfer portal. I don't know how Manny does it. I don't know what he tells them or what he sells them on, but it works. So that's why, yeah, I want to see what happens with another full off season and 1 year of development and maybe a third recruiting class on top of that. We'll see. Maybe the talent is just so much and we got a solid quarterback and it'll just work. But the technique stuff still concerns me. It doesn't look like that's something they're intending on fixing. I think they're fine with what it is, and that is concerning.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I think a lot of people are looking at the transfer portal kind of like, I've heard a lot of other fans say, oh, well, Jalen Phillips wasn't your guy. Bubba Bowden's not your guy. Derek King's not your guy. Well, newsflash, the transfer portal is not going anywhere. It's actually part of college football now. Mm-hmm. I actually just look at it more like a second signing day. It's like free agency in the NFL, dude. It's here to stay. You can't say, well, that's not your guy. Now it's more like who you can get. Look what FSU is currently doing in the transfer portal right now. Mm-hmm. They're completely doing a Manny to their team, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon, especially this one. This one's going to be a circus. This is going to be a flat-out circus, this transfer portal. So for me, I don't look at it as a negative. I look at it like we're good at it. Like you said, I don't know what Manny's saying, but it's working. And most of the transfers that come, we do a good job with. So, and we're not dealing with 17, 18-year-olds. We're dealing more with like 20, 21-year-olds. Where do you want to go to your last year of school? Miami? South Beach? Look what their guys that have gone there, Roche, Phillips, Bubba Bolden, look what they're turning into.
Yeah.
King, you know? So I think the track record is good. And I do believe that the transfer portal is about to be huge, huge for Miami this offseason. I mean, huge. Even bigger than it's been before. Hard to say that when you land a Derek King, you know?
Hmm.
Like that's like hitting the lottery, you know?
Yeah.
But as far as like plugging up a lot of our holes with talent, I think we're going to do a good job of that.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems that way. And for that whole argument of, oh, you didn't actually recruit that guy. I don't look in the NFL, like you said, you have free agency. The Dolphins signed a guy named Byron Jones, who's been very valuable. I think he's the reason Xavier Howard's leading the NFL in interceptions because he's blanketing one side of the field. Are we going to say, oh, he's not really a Dolphin? No, he's a Dolphin. We
Yeah.
just got him a different way. Like, who cares? I don't care how you get them. They're gone in 3 years anyways. Who cares?
No, I agree. And I think in another year or two, people are going to look at it different because it's going to affect all the programs.
Yeah.
We were just, I really believe we were the ones that set the tone on how to do it. And now that there's going to be an entire absolute free for all, I think we'll be in good shape. You know, I know we're talking to that guy in Montana, that wide receiver. I actually went and did a little more homework on him. And dude, people can say that, you know, I've heard a lot of people on other social media outlets like say, well, no one's really covering him, or, you know, he's playing down competition. Dude, the guy's catching the ball.
Very important.
That's
I heard
right,
I heard that's
right there.
important.
Check. Catching the ball. Check like that already.
Mm-hmm.
He's 6'3". That's
Like
great
that.
size. And even if he's playing against inferior talent, he's blowing them away. So you give me a guy that's going to come in here and actually catch the ball with good size and is not slow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that all day. And he's a veteran. I mean, he's a highlight. Like, have you got a chance to go watch this guy's tape? It looks like a guy coming out of high school, like on Huddle. Like he's doing that in that conference that he plays in Montana. I'm trying to remember what conference that is. I can't think off the top of my head. But yeah, the talent there is not the greatest. But so what? Go look at his tape. Those catches and the way he's moving, that's gonna work in our conference, in another conference. It doesn't matter. So I really hope that he ends up pulling the trigger and Miami does make an offer, because I know they have some mutual interest right now. At least that's being reported all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have another KJ Osborne come in here, you know?
Yeah. And glad you brought that up, because the fact that they're interested, you know, I hear they're interested in him and they're talking or whatever. That tells me that Mike Harley is probably gone and they're looking to replace him. That's the first thing that popped into my head. It's like, okay, they're probably thinking Mike Harley's gone, like their alpha leader of the receiver room. So they need to come in and, like you said, get their KJ Osborne of this year. And yeah, I don't care what conference. I don't care if he's coming from Division 3 or Division 6 or whatever. If he knows how to get open and catch the ball, and he's reliable, and he could be a good leader at least be a good leader, a good example for that receiver room, which is a lot of young guys right now. Yeah, I'll take it, because our most talented guys in the receiver room are all freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah. I don't know about Harley if he's leaving. I don't know about that. I know today there was some video of him working out with Jacoby George, our incoming guy.
Okay.
I personally hope he stays, because I like the dog mentality. He was inconsistent this year, but I watched him grow up from the middle of the season to the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I would love to have Harley back personally. Now, you know, I wish Pope and Wiggins a great future, and you know, I hope they really make it and get a degree and go play somewhere else. But I don't see how they. I just don't know how they beat out those guys that are coming in. You know, unless we're gonna have that whole seniority issue again. You know, where like, oh, they're upperclassmen, so they start. I think the fans will literally throw Gatorade at everybody from the top of the stands if we see those guys start. I foresee them probably transferring out, you know, because I think they see the writing on the wall. And if they stay and they do great, whatever. I know these are young men, and I never want bad things for them, but they've had plenty of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how they see a lot of snaps next year, and they're going into their senior year, so they might have to do what's best for them.
I totally agree. And yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think one of those two is gone. I think one of those two is entering the portal, more than likely. Either one of those two is entering the portal, or Mike Harley might leave. We don't know yet. I think the coaches are anticipating, okay, someone of our upperclassmen at receiver, somebody's probably going to be gone, and we got to replace him with somebody, more reliable. So I'm sure they, which tells me, yeah, they see the problem. Well, they saw the problem too late, because if they saw it in game 3, they're like, oh, these guys don't catch the ball consistently. Maybe try Keyshawn Smith. Which is what the fans were screaming. It's been going on for a couple years now. Nothing against Ryan Ragone. I'm going to use him as an example. Great kid, great story. I'm very happy for him. He got a scholarship. But you had other guys available last year at linebacker. Why is he in that Georgia Tech game getting juked out? And, I'm not saying he's the one that lost the game, but what if a more athletic guy is in there, jumps a route, gets an interception, and changes the game?
It's frustrating. We try to find as much insider information as we can to try to get a better vibe of what's happening. But the truth is, we really don't know everything that's happening. And there's a lot of things that we're questioning, at least I'm questioning this year, that I've seen, even with some people that I do know that are close to the program. I still don't understand a lot of the decisions. Like, to me, how in the world is 53 still getting all those snaps all season? Like, I just don't understand. I will go back.
Yeah.
And I will sit right before I look at the video or the tape, and I say, all right, I'm going to be neutral here. I'm not going to just look for him to mess up. But he pops off every single time. I think he had 1.5 good games this year. On tape, at least. On tape, right? Mm-hmm. How is he still getting all snaps? I'll tell you how. That whole seniority thing seems like there's some legs to it. That they're playing because of seniority. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to fly with us much longer, because you got these freshmen and you got these recruiting classes that are going to see that. So they're going to be like, wait a minute. If I'm showing out in the practice, I'm still not going to get run in the games because I'm not a junior, I'm not a senior. That's not going to fly.
Nope.
Wait. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about, what do you think our offensive line is going to look like going into next year?
I think if we get a full spring and all that's, full off season worth of practices, I think that's going to be very important. Assuming we do, I think the O-line is going to be much improved. I really do. I really like Garin Justice a lot, and I like the improvements he made with that unit. But COVID, I think, hit that unit the hardest. Because I've said it before, offensive line is so chemistry based. The best O-lines, a lot of times, look at the Patriots. They never really have they don't have a Jonathan Ogden or an Orlando Pace. They don't have one stud Hall of Fame. No, they just have a unit that plays well together. Why is that? On top of putting in the work, they're also, they're in the weight room together. They're eating their meals together. They're playing video games together in the dorms. They're studying together. It's they got robbed of that. So a team that's trying to build something, especially an offensive line, build that cohesiveness, COVID is going to affect that. Now, again, we're hopefully going to get those practices in this offseason. So I think we're going to see a big improvement, and you're going to see guys like Jalen Phillips get in there. I think Donaldson is staying another year, correct? I would assume.
Phillips. Did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rivers.
Jalen Rivers.
Yeah. You got. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I was
he switched the guard.
Did you see my face though? I went, huh?
Yeah, he switched all line. No. Jalen Rivers, who I liked what I saw the few times he was in there. He's a big dude.
And he's gonna get bigger.
Yeah, Donaldson, I believe, is coming back another year. Isaiah Walker is going to get some playing time, and then you got the 3 kids who I really like coming in this class. So
don't forget about Zion.
And Zion, you mentioned guys. I mean, I know we excluded trenches, but guys that have taken a leap forward that dude, for as much as we criticized him, I mean, I criticized Dan Enos more than him. He should not have been out there.
Clearly.
But yeah, dude weighing 260, soaking wet, and he's out there trying to block first rounders. I didn't get it. And then Enos is yelling at him on the sideline. I'm like, dude, someone should yell at you for being the idiot that put him out there. But anyway, Zion took a huge step forward, put on like 40 pounds of just lean muscle because he still looks really lean.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy, I'm really proud of Zion. He really took a step forward.
I'm really impressed. He graded out the best out of all our O-line this year. And from what I'm hearing, that's who they're the most excited about going back to next year. Remember, we get Donaldson back, who's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine having Zion at left tackle and Donaldson at left guard. Wow. Like that left side of that line is probably the best it's been in I don't know how long. The right side, there's going to be a lot of fighting going on to see who plays over there, but there's talent there. Mm-hmm. And what I like the most about the offensive line, the absolute most, is everyone pretty much is coming back.
Right.
Other than the transfer guy, everybody's pretty much coming back. How like you said, that togetherness, that extra practice together, that eating together, that weight room together. There's no word I can think of in my vocabulary to think of how big that's going to be for them moving forward. And them starting off with Alabama, the rest of the year just gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, like think about it. You play Alabama, well, however that goes, you will not see nothing the rest of the year that's even close to that.
Nope. That's an NFL team.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Like I really and one of my buddies was like, "You're crazy. Come on, man. You played quarterback. How can you say that?" I'm like, "Yeah. That's who I'm the most excited, other than when D'Eriq King said he was coming back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm most excited about, that we have an entire unit that was in the positive this year. You got to say, those guys finished in the positive. They got to get a little bit better on the run side. I agree with that. But from a passing standpoint, you just saw a big improvement. Big improvement. I'm so excited for that line to come back next year.
I am too. It's going to be a big upgrade from last year to this year. A lot of guys are going to take a leap forward. I hope DJ Scaife is one of them, man, because he looks so good as a freshman. We plugged him in at right tackle, really, because we had nobody else. And he did a solid job in 2018. Moved him back to guard, which is his natural position. And he just looked off this year. I don't know what it was, but I know how good he is, how good he can be. So if he gets back to that, and the other guys you mentioned all do what we're expecting, yeah, O-line could be very good. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's game one in Alabama? Who's under center?
My answer is going to be bad. I don't think he's on our roster.
It was going to be multiple choice if you were stuck. It was going to be transfer.
You're so nice to me.
Yeah. I was going to give you multiple choices. Transfer, D'Eriq King, Jake Garcia, TVD were really your options. So you're thinking transfer guy.
Yeah. What I want to put in a freshman, and I want to play the freshman the whole first 4 games. That's what I want. Like, I want him to play against Alabama, App State, Michigan State, and then Connecticut Central, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a freshman to play all those. And then as soon as we start conference play, D'Eriq King slides in, which is in October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let D'Eriq King play. And then now we had those 4 games for our freshmen that got a lot of good snaps. It gives D'Eriq King another entire month, to rehab. And I don't want D'Eriq King, no matter how ready he says he's ready, to play against Alabama. Personally, I don't want that at all, because I think that is a huge mistake if we play him against Alabama. That's just me personal. But if I had it my way, Cozy transfers to another program. He does really well. We start TVD. TVD plays. Maybe he takes some lumps, gets a little better in the next few games, sits, learns. D'Eriq King comes in. We play conference play. Now we're going into the following year with not a real freshman. We have a freshman that's got really big snaps and really big games that learned. But I think we're going to have a guy in the portal, because there's no way Cozy stays when he's just guaranteed a few games next year. That game, how he played, how he played against Oklahoma State, pretty much there's going to be teams. If he goes in that portal, there's going to be teams coming for him that are running spread.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be either a portal guy or possibly Nkosi, because you said he might enter the portal. I think he's so loyal to the program, he would have already.
Yeah.
I think at this point he's in it. Like, he's got one more year. I think it would be better for his career if he went somewhere else, to be honest with you. But I think he's that loyal. I think he's just
2 more years, because this year didn't count.
He could stay 2 more years if he wants. That's right. So he's probably saw King hurt, and he did step up and play well.
He did.
Yeah. If he stays, he may start that first game.
I will tell you this. I was having this conversation with somebody else, and this was my pushback on the portal guy. How do you convince a good quarterback in the portal to come over to play for us for 4 games?
Yeah, you're basically going to be a rental. That's the problem. And also, I don't know if this is a concern for Manny or for Rhett Lashley, but you just brought in Jake Garcia. You have TVD. You don't want to possibly lose one of them.
No.
That's the other thing, which is why, transfer portal. Let's say D'Eriq King's rehab, is not going as quickly as planned or whatever, then, maybe they get a little desperate and grab somebody. But honestly, it makes sense on paper, but I don't see them dipping into the portal. My gut just tells me they don't want to lose one of their young guys. Nikosi's probably staying at this point. I think it's kind of the quarterback room stays how it is, and maybe Nkosi starts that first game and then hands the reins back to D'Eriq.
I would not listen. I would not mind if Cozy started that game. I think he opened a little bit of some people's eyes how he played in this last game a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely want a freshman to get some type of package, come in for a couple series just to get some reps. But let me ask you a question about the D'Eriq King. And no one's brought this up. I haven't seen this, and personally I haven't seen it. It might be out there on any other social media outlet, but so he tears his ACL late December, right?
Yeah.
Our first game next year is what? First week of September?
Something like that, yeah.
All right. So you're talking – so let's say he has surgery now, right? So you're looking at in January, right? So you're looking at February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September.
Yeah.
That's 8 months.
That's not enough time, man.
That is not for an ACL. But wait a minute. That's just the first game. They were reporting that he'd be ready for fall camp. That's the report that I will show it to you.
Yeah, I've seen the report. Yeah, no, it's
so I did the math in my head. I've had that surgery. That timeline is not correct. And then I was like, what is going on here? And then the same guy that I was having the conversation about, man, I don't know if we could get a transfer portal because he's not going to be here more than 4 games because when D'Eriq King's healthy, it's his job. That guy said this to me. He said, what if King takes a medical?
Has he taken a medical already?
I don't know. I know he was hurt. I know he hurt his ACL. So, but I don't know I don't remember how that worked out. Like as far as if he used it or he didn't have to use it, I don't remember how, or I don't know. I don't have the information on what he did with that. But this guy said, hey, what if D'Eriq King? And I was like, wow. I literally just wrote back like, wow. He said, what if he takes his medical? And I was like, whoa. Like that completely went, can you imagine that?
A 7th year in college. Poor guy's going to be a decade in college.
Was it Chris Winkie? No, who was it was it 26, 27 in college?
Yeah, a few guys have done that, but that's because they usually go play baseball first.
Yeah, that's true.
Come back at like 24 years old. Jason White was another one, Oklahoma. He was there for like 6 or 7 years. But yeah, about the 8-month thing, unless you're like a freak of nature like Adrian Peterson, who just bounced back like it was nothing, most guys, it's probably nowadays, I'm noticing it's like a little less than a year. And that first year, you're not really back to what you were yet. It takes another year to get back to
Yeah,
100%.
agreed.
Um, and that shiftiness that he has to elude rushers, I mean, that's
But
a
that's
lot of
the other
stress.
point. That's the other point. He's not a pocket quarterback. So I could kind of see him coming back if we could protect him in the pocket. He
He's a runner.
he's a runner. His biggest weapon, I mean, he can throw the ball, but his biggest weapon is that he can throw the ball. But hey, guess what? He can run.
Hmm.
You take that away from him without him being healthy. I mean, again, I'm speculating. You're not speculating. I'm speculating, but the math doesn't add up for an ACL tear to be back ready for fall camp. And how do you do that and then put him against the number one team in the country?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was just to calm people down, honestly.
Yes.
Oh, he'll be back for fall camp. Yeah, he might be back at practice, but he'll be wearing a no contact jersey for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I remember Ryan Williams back in 2014, but he had a partial tear. Usually a partial tear, you can get away with rehab and you're back in a few months.
Yeah.
He was, but they elected to put in Kaya to cover their ass. That's a whole other podcast. But
Yeah. No, I got you.
yeah, but I'm thinking if he needed surgery, it was a severe enough tear that rehab wasn't enough. So yeah, I don't see 8 months being like, okay, I'm back 100%. There's no way.
Have you seen that? I have not seen that topic come up at all ever since they reported that. And I've been shocked about that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Has anybody else done the math on this?
A couple, I mean, these aren't like
Yeah.
anybody official, but a couple buddies of mine have like, they DM'd me after I posted it on Instagram and they were like, you think 8 months, 7 months, you think we'll be back? I'm
All right.
like, I don't know. That's what they're saying. I'm just reporting what they're saying.
I don't know. I don't know how it's possible. I mean, if it's an ACL tear, and then again going into his style of play, which is they just don't go together.
No, and really the more, because it was in my head, but the more we talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be cozy the first few games. Which honestly, if it's the same cozy from the bowl game, and they're not trying to like make him do like RPO stuff that he's not, or read option stuff that he's not used to, just have him back in the shotgun and let him fling that rock, which is what he's most comfortable with. Then yeah, I'm fine with it. I think we'll win some games. I think we're probably. I don't think we're beating Bama, but I think he can make it interesting. He could throw a few touchdown passes and make it fun, and we'll win the next 3, and we'll see from there.
Yeah, that would be a blessing if we can go 3-1. That Michigan State game worries me a little bit. That's a good coach that's over there, and he's recruiting at a really high level right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mel Tucker, that's his name, Mel Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
That game worries me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. App State, they're a good team, but I'm not stressed about them. And then the other team that I can't even pronounce, I told you it's like Central something or West Central Connecticut, something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the schedule right now, actually, since we're on the subject.
I know we finished away, and I think it's North Carolina and wait, we might not finish away. We definitely play North Carolina away. Who was
it's
the
away,
game?
away. Yeah. So we end with at Carolina and at Pitt.
Wow.
And Pitt is no joke.
Yeah.
So here's the schedule: Bama, App State at home on September 11th. So we start on September 4th. September 11th, App State. September 18th, Michigan State.
Here.
Also at home, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also at home. Then CCSU, Central Connecticut. And then our ACC games look like this start. Then it says date to be announced. Duke away. FSU away. I know they were terrible last year, but
They're
gonna bounce back real quick. Georgia Tech at home, NC State at home, Virginia at home, Virginia Tech at home. So we get four in a row at home, and then UNC Pitt to end the season on the road.
Wow.
It's not an easy schedule.
No. No. That schedule, that's not that's not on our side at all. Not at all. No. What else you got? You got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me. I think that's all I wanted to cover for now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else for you?
No, just I'm hoping for some type of coaching changes. Like by the time I wake up tomorrow, that would be outstanding. I would love. I mean,
Yeah.
just show me that you're trying. I just want to know that you're trying.
Mhm.
Maybe not give me exactly what I want, but give me something. Like, give me something. I want to support you. I'm gonna support him. Clearly, I'm just talking shit right now, but I'm
Mhm.
saying, like, help me out. Help all of us out a little bit. Do something that makes us go, well, at least they're trying. You know,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
all. That's all I want.
Yeah. Show me that you actually care about
Yeah,
this
that's like a
program
girl.
that you're coaching.
Just like you're talking to your girl, right?
Yeah.
Baby, I love you. I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. Just show me that you care.
Mhm.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, man. We'll do it again in a couple of days unless something big drops before that,
Yeah.
and we'll chop it up.
Sounds good, man. All right. All right. So that's it for us. Again, follow Caned Up at Miami Flow Football. Go subscribe there. Also, the Canes blog. Subscribe. Hit that like button. It helps us grow the channel. And hope you guys have a good weekend. And until next time, see ya. What's up, everybody? Of course, right as we log off, we find out that DeAndre Johnson, the edge rusher from Tennessee who had entered the transfer portal, has just committed to the University of Miami. This happened not 10 minutes before we stopped recording. This is a good get for Miami. This is good news. I know defensive end is a position that we've got a lot of young talent there and a lot of guys we're excited about, but it does not hurt to add a veteran, a guy with experience, a guy who in all likelihood may just be a rotational player, may get some starting snaps, may not. I doubt it, but he's going to be a solid rotational guy. He's going to contribute and brings a lot of much needed experience to the table at a position where we just lost 3 All-American caliber guys to the draft in Quincy Roche, Jalen Phillips, and Greg Rousseau. So you got to replace those guys with some kind of experience. I think this is a great get. In other news, I did hear that Coach Ephraim Banda, who is our safeties coach, one of the best recruiters on the staff, has or will be taking the defensive coordinator position at Utah State. His name has been tied to that job for a little while now, and it seems like that is where he will be going. And we're hearing that he will likely be taking Demarcus Van Dyke with him. Demarcus Van Dyke, who you all know, former Hurricane, he is on the staff as an assistant recruiting director. So we will be losing both those guys. Wish them well. Hope they do very well at Utah State. I think they will with their recruiting ability and all that stuff. So Miami will be looking for a new safeties coach very soon. And this is just my gut feeling. Expect more coaching changes on that side of the ball. So anyways, that's it for me, guys. Have a good rest of the weekend. As always, it's all about the U. Go Canes.